Okay, cool. Let's get started. This is the art and science of freedom. Really life at the intersection of health, wealth, and happiness. My name is Greg Clement, and I want to do something very important today. I want to help you get very clear on three things. So exactly how to improve your health, your wealth, and your relationships by connecting all of them together. I want to show you how to live at this intersection of health, wealth, which is money and time freedom, and happiness. Because I'm almost certain that everyone here right now would raise your hand at least one time if I asked you these questions. So is freedom important to you? Is health important to you? Is having more time and money important to you? How about great relationships? Are those important to you? I call these things values. These are the important things. And we've built a framework around them, around how to connect it all together because they're all super important. There's this science to financial freedom that can be taught. So growing your assets and increasing your income and independence, these are things that I've been teaching for almost 20 years. There's also science behind how to improve our physical and mental health, how to lose weight and fat and increase muscle and energy to live longer and not only look good, but feel good. There's science around improving our relationships. But I think what most people get wrong is the art of putting this all together, of actually living an incredible life. And that's what Freedomology is about. So that's what I'm going to be focused on for the next half hour or so because, well, do you remember the movie Back to the Future? So that's a classic. And in Back to the Future Part 2, we see Biff. He discovers that Marty McFly, right, Michael J. Fox, he's time traveling. And in that moment, he actually gets his hands on the sports almanac, which lets him see the outcomes of, I think, every major sporting event in the future. So armed with this knowledge, what does Biff do? He actually becomes one of the richest men in the world. Now, so I want you to imagine for a second that Biff comes to you and says, I'm going to give you the winning numbers to the next Powerball jackpot. And these things get pretty big, right? Let's say $400 million. So you'd probably feel thrilled. If you knew for certain that you were going to win the Powerball, you'd be thinking about ways that it's going to change your life. You're going to be thinking about things you could buy. You're going to be processing all the people that you could help, the places that you could visit. Your mind would start racing 100 miles an hour. But then Biff adds, there's one catch. You only have 1 week to live. And now suddenly the $400 million doesn't seem as important. Most of us, I wouldn't, most of us wouldn't take that deal. We wouldn't trade our health, our ability to live, our relationships for any amount of money. And that's why we should be pursuing balance in all three of these areas. So let me start by giving you what we call the framework. And I just want to make sure that you agree with me on these important points. So I think right now you don't have to deeply understand how these are all connected because I'm going to explain that, but I think it's super important to just open up your mind a little bit to the probability that these are all interconnected and can be easily improved together. And now's a good time to make this note. Like I really want you to hone in with me right now. I want you to hopefully shut your cell phone off. I want you to, if you're watching this on your phone or your computer, basically turn everything else off so you can really focus because what we're talking about is vitally important. And I don't want you to miss anything because I'm going to go pretty quick here. So let's talk about health first. So I've asked thousands of people, is health important to you? And almost everyone says yes. But what does that mean exactly? I mean, we could have all the money in the world, but without our health, what do we really have? Does that mean if we have health, we look great, that we have a ripped body? Or does it mean the absence of problems? Does that mean that we accept ourselves, even if we're a little bit, let's say, overweight? I mean, I've been going to the doctor for 30 years, and according to their scale, I am obese. I don't fit in. It says it right there on my medical chart. But biologically, I'm 10 years younger than my actual birthday. My biomarkers are all really, really good, really strong. I actually have a lot of muscle, and I can physically do whatever I want to do. And to me, that's my version of happy health. So my question to you right now is this: what is health to you? Because I think for most people, here's what it should be. You should wake up in the morning and focus on everything right in your life. I mean, we all have things to worry about. We all have things that could cause us anxiety, even depression. But isn't how we feel so much more important than how we look? And that means that mental health is the foundation of health. How are we viewing the world? How are we viewing ourselves? Are we happening to the day, or are we letting the day happen to us? And physical health is also super important. And you may be thinking like, I'd love to lose weight. That's what I think about when I think about health. Or I'd like to add more muscle or have more energy, and that's great. We're going to show you how to do that, but everything starts with the mind. So it's like this. Physical health is the surface, what other people can see and feel. It's what most people think of when they think of health. And then mental health is the foundation. It's the core. And something very important lives in between. It's like the connective tissue between how we look and how we feel. And that's our environmental health. Where we live and work directly impact our physical and mental health. Think about it this way. You're always spending time somewhere, and that somewhere should probably inspire you. It shouldn't cause you anxiety. It should allow you to be focused on whatever activity it is that you're actually doing. That's why I think getting outside is so important, being in nature, connecting to the earth. We help people optimize their indoor and outdoor environments to support their physical and mental health. Do you see how important this stuff is? And then if we talk about wealth, or what most people would connect directly to success, I call it financial freedom. And when most people think about this at first, we think about income. We think about getting a better job or generating a pile of money big enough to retire someday. Or maybe it's like building a business that spits off passive income so we can do what we want. And that's important. Income is a vital part of the formula. But I've got many friends who make super huge incomes but have no independence. They have no freedom because they're directly connected to their jobs or professions. They can't remove themselves. They trade their time for money. And I think it's what most people do. But there's a concept that we call asset freedom. It's very simple. When your assets spin off enough income to pay all of your expenses, you have then true freedom. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want, with whoever you want to do it with. And that's both income and independence. And then there's this even higher level when it comes to financial freedom. It's impact. I think when I was in my 20s, financial freedom to me was all about this income and independence. But as I climbed the ladder, I realized that impact, that purpose and meaning are sort of at the foundation. Once you no longer have to trade your time for money, you need to find something worth spending your time on. That's impact. So when I look at wealth, I see it this way. I see income, independence, and impact. Does that make sense? And if we move to relationships, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Harvard Happiness Study, but it's fascinating. So it's one of the longest running studies in the world, going on 85 years now. So they took a sophomore class from Harvard University and people from Boston, and then even their children, and they tracked their happiness levels over their lifetimes. And many of these people are now deceased, but the study over the past 20, 30, 40, 50 years, they found one clear connection, one foundation for happiness. And it wasn't money, and it wasn't even health. You want to know what it was? It was relationships. It was connections to other people. This was the main reason people felt happy. It's also the reason you can maybe look at one of the poorest countries in the world, like Uganda, and see it declared as one of the happiest. So many Ugandans have no material wealth. They often struggle with health, but they have each other. They have that connection and a deeper purpose. They're extremely spiritual, and they live like their lives have meaning. So here's how we look at relationships. When we think of relationships, we probably think of our spouse, our significant other, our family, friends, kids, coworkers, the people around us. This would be the surface. And yes, everyone wants to improve these relationships. But what about the relationship with self? Because that's a real thing. Freud called it the id, the ego, the super ego. It's been called the lower self and the higher self. And you do have an actual relationship with yourself. You're either your own worst enemy or your biggest cheerleader. And for most of us, it's probably somewhere in between. But here's a real important idea. The more you love yourself, the more you have the capability to love others. The more you accept yourself, the more you can actually accept others. And I think the absolute most important relationship, the foundation of all relationships, is the relationship with Creator. Here's how I look at this. Is it possible or probable that this world, this universe, you, me, we're created? I think we have to answer yes to that. And if we answer yes, then is it possible or probable that someone or something created it all, that there's a creator? I think most of us would also answer yes to that question. So we often call that creator God. That's sort of what I call him. And I think that's the deepest relationship of all. That's the core. And the beauty of this is that your relationship with God will shape your relationship with yourself, which in turn will bubble up to the surface and can improve or worsen every other relationship in your life. And that's why what we're talking about today is probably the most important thing we could discuss. It's the art and science of freedom in these three super important areas. It allows us to make decisions very easily. I think decisions actually start making themselves once we understand how everything works together. There's so much noise in the world, and the world is very good at telling us what to focus on, what we should be interested in, what we should value. But if we laid it all out on the table, like right here, I can just about guarantee that you and I are probably a lot alike, that we could wipe off probably 95% of it, that we could just get it off the table. And we wouldn't miss a beat. In fact, we'd probably be happier to get rid of all this noise, this stuff. This noise isn't really interesting at all. It's uninteresting. And we can grow significantly. We can get stronger by eliminating all of this noise in our life. So the question then is, how do we do that? Well, we have this concept that we call the most important question you'll ever ask yourself. And I know that's a crazy claim, but it's what we call the icky question. It goes like this. Are you interested or are you committed? For example, are you interested or committed to your relationship or your marriage? Because I know many people who were just interested and now they're divorced. Because interests, they compete with one another. These people were also interested in things that were incongruent with being a good husband or wife. Are you interested or committed to your profession, to your business? The surest way to go out of business or quit is to only be interested in what you're doing. You have to make a commitment. You have to make a line in the sand and cross over and move from interest to commitment in your health, in your relationships, and in your finances. And when you do this, it gets easier. Trust me, life gets so much easier. Decisions start making themselves. And then the third part of the icky question is, are you interested, committed, or crazy? And I say crazy in a good way. Sometimes it's actually good to be crazy. I'm crazy in many aspects of my life. People might think I'm a little bit nuts, a little crazy, but I'm crazy about my mental health. I'm crazy about my relationships. I'm crazy about the impact that I'm making on the world. And this question applies to just about anything in life. So I'd encourage you to write it down and just start asking it all the time. And it's totally fine to only be interested in certain things. Like I'm super interested in history, in the universe, in motorcycle racing. Like I'm probably never going to be great at those things, and that's all right. Like golf's another one. When I bought a golf course 6 years ago, I thought that I was going to get really good at golf because, well, I could play whenever I wanted for free. But my handicap today, my ability today is about exactly the same as it was 5 and 10 years ago. And I've resolved to just be fine with that. Because when I asked myself, am I interested or committed to golf, it was pretty obvious. I'm just interested. Now, I love it. I love playing with my boys and my friends, but I'm not committed to being great at it. I'm committed to really only the important things in my life. This makes my life, this makes living freedom so much easier. So when you look at your life, like maybe ask yourself, are you committed to your cell phone? Are you committed to Facebook? Are you committed to Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok? Are you committed to the news? Are you committed to politics, right? There's this incredible filter that you can start using right now, especially when it comes to, election season here, like politics and the media. They want you to be more than interested. They want you to commit to their side. But I suggest that if you're into that stuff, that you keep it at an interest level and don't give it the same attention as these important things, because where attention goes, energy flows. And I think one more thing that I'm committed to personally is helping you. We've done it for over 6,000 people over the past 12 months. And it's one of these things that just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, even though we started as a very small community. We started actually internally. And now's a perfect time to tell you a quick story about Josh. So Josh is a 47-year-old former high school athlete who hadn't worked out in about 15 years. I actually work with Josh, and he's just this incredibly good dude. So as a matter of fact, he's married to Tracy, who also works here at our company. And so I guess you could say our company sort of brought them together. And Tracy's been very much into health and fitness, and they have 2 kids, both in grade school. So Josh has been interested in getting back into shape. He wanted to lose sort of the love handles, but he was very interested in having more energy and creating a more positive sort of body, mind, and spirit together. And Tracy has tried, she's tried for the past 10 years or so to get him off the couch and back into the gym. But it wasn't until he applied the ideas that we're going to go over in Freedomology that it finally clicked for him. So he lost over 15 pounds and almost 6% body fat in 40 days, 6 weeks, by not dieting, by following our system. It was a profound physical and mental transformation. And it all happened with one little decision. He moved from the land of interested to the world of committed. He told me that nothing he did was really hard. It was rather easy because once you make this mental switch from interested to committed, it just becomes easier. There's less decisions to make. And I'm going to show you how to turn that switch on for yourself, just like Josh did, because he was sick and tired of always just being sick and tired. And as I sit here, I'm so glad that you're here with me right now, because right now is the best time to learn about these things, to eliminate the noise the world is throwing at you and focus, to take action on only the important things, because you're never going to be younger than you are today, right now. You're never going to have a better time to jump into this new world than right now, today. And I'm probably talking to some people who know me right now and many people who don't. So my name is Greg Clement, and I grew up in a small town outside of Cleveland, Ohio, where I still live today. My wife Kelly and I bought a 150-acre apple orchard about 15 years ago. So it's got 4,000 apple trees. It's like this big farm right in the middle of the city. It's very unique. We have 3 boys, and I back up even a little bit more because I think it's important when I look back on my life and why I think the way I do, why my life has evolved the way it has. I realized that from age 5, really all the way up to 21, fear dominated every single decision that I made. I grew up with a speech impediment, a stutter. And I had this very traumatic operation at 5. I woke up in the operating room as they're wheeling me out. And my mom says that's when I started to stutter. It's actually hard for me to say that word because I think stuttering is a weird thing. I have good speech days, bad speech days. Some people have good hair days, bad hair days, but some days are better than others. Today actually is a good speech day. But, as a kid, I mostly had these bad speech days. I struggled hugely. I didn't really speak much. I didn't want to put myself out there because I failed every single day just trying to talk. And it wasn't until college that I made this decision, and it was a decision to overcome that fear. Like I crossed a line into freedom. And I often say to my team and my family and my friends that freedom lives on the other side of fear. Because when we do hard things, they become easier. So in my early 20s, when I made this decision, I decided to start attacking life, living like on offense instead of defense. And we've done some cool things over the past 20 to 25 years. We built a tech company, RealFlow, which is an Inc. 500 company, which means it's one of the 500 fastest growing companies in America. And more importantly, for the past 10 years, it's actually been one of the top companies in America to work for. We own a bunch of cool property, wineries, golf courses, concert venues, farms, apartments, office buildings, retail. USA Today even did an article on me this year called The Millionaires Next Door. But what I'm most focused on today, right now, is the realization that I've taught thousands of people how to achieve financial freedom. But it was only part of the equation. Many of these people achieved what they thought they wanted, but were unfulfilled with money. It wasn't enough. It didn't fill the hole. They went through divorces. Their kids didn't know them. They were overweight and out of shape. They had the money to travel, but not the energy. And that's why we started Freedomology, because there's a science around financial freedom, around increasing your income and independence or growing your net worth, building a business. There's science around better physical and mental health and even improving relationships. But there's this art to actually putting it all together and truly living a great life. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. Life at the intersection of health, wealth, and happiness. And even when I graduated high school, I had to work my way through college. It was tough. I definitely wanted to quit, but I finished. And I got a job as a financial planner from age 22 to 29. And that job was important because it let me see behind the curtains of so many people's financial lives. I could see what they were doing right and, more importantly, what they were doing wrong. And one common point with the truly wealthy clients was that they had passive income through real estate or businesses. And they didn't have to work anymore. They could live off of that income stream. But for many of them, something was missing, a piece of the puzzle. And it took me almost 20 years to figure out exactly what it was. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. But I think it's important for me to just finish telling you my story. So it didn't take me too long to figure out that I needed to jump into the business of real estate. So we developed a system early on to buy multiple houses a month and fix them up. I actually grew up as a laborer in high school. So my brother had this construction business, and it was just this natural extension for me to go into real estate investing full time then in my late 20s. And we started having success. And then we began to teach other people how to do what we were doing. And that evolved into coaching and mastermind groups. And at first, I was extremely excited because people that I was coaching were having financial success. Their incomes were skyrocketing, and many of these people were becoming millionaires. But there was this one fateful day in Las Vegas, and it really changed everything for me. It turned on this switch in my head. I had this group of 20 individuals in my 7 mastermind. So these were people earning 6 figures in income who wanted to hit 7. So these were pretty financially successful people, so to speak. So from the outside in, they had just about everything that they could want. But we definitely went off script that first morning, and we talked about life and death, and we went real deep. We talked about the massive holes in life. We talked about how the world was screaming at them and how what it was saying was making them feel empty. So even though they had all this financial success, it got like super emotional. People realized that they were chasing a ghost. They were chasing this American success dream. They had money, but that piece of the puzzle was missing. And that was the very first time that I looked at my life through a microscope and realized that something was missing for me too. So that was 12 years ago. And around that time, I bought the Freedomology.com domain name, because at first I thought that this would be a book, that this would be like a collection of my ideas. But over the past year, when we've really decided to move from interest to commitment when it comes to Freedomology, it's evolving into something much, much bigger than that. This growing community of thousands of people committed to freedom. We realized very quickly early on this year that we had to organize our system. So take all of our best ideas and focus on these 3 main areas: health, wealth, and relationships. And we chose health first because I had already been teaching financial success for such a long time. So we started 2024 with 23 people in what we called H40. So this is a 40-day health sprint focused on improving physical, mental, and environmental health. And the results were mind-boggling, life-changing for everybody that took part in this. So people lost weight, they actually improved their relationships, and they changed how they viewed themselves. And then we opened it up just a little bit, right? We had that early success. So then we sort of opened up the door a little bit, and we had 1,122 people sign up in the spring. And we literally had hundreds and hundreds of people write to us telling us how H40 was completely changing their lives. Then in the next sprint, in the summer of 2024, 5,000 people joined. And that's when we realized that we hit a nerve. We hit that nerve, that desire to live at the intersection of health, wealth, and happiness. Because, man, I think that's what most people haven't fully connected yet. And I think, as I look at Freedomology, I think some people will be attracted because they want to improve their health. And others might say, you know what, Greg, I'm good with my health, but show me how to be financially free, how to have time and money and income and impact, right? And then there's going to be some people who say, you know what, I figured out that stuff, but help me improve my relationships. Help me understand how having a great relationship with myself impacts my relationship with others. And if I'm terrible to myself, that I'm going to be terrible to other people too. Or some people are going to say, talk to me about this God thing. How can I move from interested to committed there? Because that is really what matters. But I think most people are going to be attracted to Freedomology, to what we're doing, because they want all three. And they understand there's this major problem in the world right now. Too much information, sensory overload. I mean, if we look at health, if you start watching a video on YouTube or TikTok, the algorithm is going to overload you with all of this information, all of these people, and sometimes even give you conflicting advice. So even though there's a science to improving health, a lot of these experts will focus on one small area. Like it could be like building muscle, getting stronger, could be lowering your blood sugar or anti-aging. Yeah, so actually, if we look at anti-aging specifically, this is extending your lifespan and health span. For example, anti-aging experts focus on extending your lifespan and health span. We know the average life expectancy in the US is 79 years old, but the average health span is only 69. That means that many people are going to spend the last 10 years of their life with a chronic illness or debilitating disease. They're not going to enjoy life the way they thought they would in retirement. And then there's, experts focusing on how to lose fat or weight, or optimizing your environment, things like feng shui, or creating this inspiring workspace, or how travel expands the mind and actually can make us smarter. And then we have experts on meditation or mental health, biohacking, and routines. And that's just health if we think about it. The problem isn't the lack of information, it's the right information. So that's why we focus and show you what the absolute most important levers are for getting you to health freedom. I'm telling you, it's a whole new world, and we invite you to step inside this world where all that noise is just gone. Because everything we do around here is built around our natural instincts. So what we will and won't do. Like, have you ever been to an amusement park where they have those drivable cars? So maybe antique cars. So like you can give it gas and you can steer the wheel, and maybe as a kid, your parents let you take the wheel, but it's on this metal track. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. We're giving you the exact path to follow, but it's not so rigid that you have to do exactly what we say. There is absolute flexibility in our approach, and that's why it's working so incredibly well for so many people. And that's a big part of what makes us different, and why I'm so bullish for you to actually step into our world, a world of freedom, real freedom. And I think for a lot of us, when we think of freedom, it means money. So what about money? Again, no shortage of experts and gurus trying to help us get rich, whether it's through the stock market or building a business or real estate, crypto, or side hustles. The problem is that it's all fragmented. It's bits and pieces of information designed to keep us really in this endless cycle of consumption. It's never really a complete system. That's why we start our financial sprints with what we call lifestyle design. And I think that's super important. Like, how much is enough? Do you know how much money you really need? Because I think that's important. Like, we have this joke at the office here. We actually created a video about 10 years ago where I'm walking around the office and I'm asking people at Real Flow, how big's your patty otter? And I go from one person to the next, to the next, to the next. And it's a crazy word, but it stands for pot at the end of the rainbow. So I then asked people after they were sort of offended, how much money is it going to take for you to feel financially free? Like, you don't have to do anything, and you now get to do everything. And that's an important distinction. So many of us right now are doing things we absolutely have to do. We go to work, we pay the mortgage, we pay the bills, we buy groceries. But when you have financial freedom, you get to do whatever you want to do. It's this mindset shift. In our financial sprints, break it down, starting with lifestyle design. We answer the question, how much is enough? And then we help you figure out how to get there. Not just what you'd buy, because That's okay. That might be a little bit important, but the most important thing is, what would you do? What gives you energy? What do you dream about? What do you love? What kind of life are you committed to living, not just interested in? Then we talk about what to cut out, what to reduce. So there's these negative money thoughts that many of us just need to quit thinking. For example, when I was growing up, I often heard we can't afford that. And I didn't realize until I was in my 20s that many people actually could afford these things. So a better question would have been, how can we afford that? Or we've heard money doesn't grow on trees. Well, you know what? We bought this apple orchard. And so for tree farmers, for me, money can grow on trees. So we help you get rid of these negative money thoughts and replace them with good ones. Like these thoughts like, I'm not smart enough or good enough to be wealthy or rich. There are people a lot less smart than you or me who are literally making a fortune. We talk about how money is not a currency of worth. It's a currency of action. And we tell you which actions to take to actually grow your money. And then we move into investing and creating. So how to create asset freedom through businesses and different types of assets that can spin off income. We talk about how to automate this process so that you can do the work one time and get paid over and over and over again. We also cover the importance of taxes and setting things up properly, because it's not just about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. And we talk about protecting and preserving our assets so you keep what you built over your lifetime and even beyond. And as we jump back into happiness, I think many psychologists agree that one of the keys to deep happiness is relationships. Relationships with others, with ourselves, and with God. And most of us probably think there are some relationships that are just good and that work, and there are some that aren't. Like we just vibe with certain people. And there's some science to that, but there's even more science around how to get people to like you, how to be likable and attractive. And I don't mean just physically, but I mean emotionally and mentally. You've probably seen people who are just attractive to others, and it's not even about charisma. They could be quiet or loud, outgoing, but people are just drawn to them. So we talk about the science behind that, the science of attraction. We also talk about how being grateful and serving others is one of the most powerful ways to improve relationships. You want to have a small group of people that would run through a brick wall for you and vice versa. So we talk about opening up your heart and how many of us have been burned in relationships and we just shut it down. And when we harden our hearts, we're moving away from happiness, peace, and joy. I think a lot of us confuse happiness with this emotion of excitement or pleasure. So I sat down recently with 3 different PhDs, so one in psychology, one in philosophy, and one in neuroscience. We discussed what is called surface level happiness. In Freedomology, we call it sensory happiness, and the difference between that and deep happiness. So sensory happiness is real. It comes from one of our 5 senses. For example, music can instantly change your mood, right? Or tasting an incredible meal can increase serotonin and dopamine. A visual like seeing the Grand Canyon or the ocean or a sunset can make us feel happy, feel the emotion. Even a smell or touch can bring this rush of happiness. But remember, that's just the emotion of happiness. Deep happiness is different. It's about meaning and purpose, and it comes from helping others, from serving, from connecting with people and connecting with God. That's why this relational part of Freedomology is so important. It impacts everything else in your life. And when you have a balance of all 3 of these things, you have a high level of freedom. And I think that's what people want. I think people chase money, they chase love and happiness, and these things shouldn't be directly pursued. They happen naturally as a byproduct of us achieving freedom in these 3 big areas of our life. I think life is a lot about perspective. It's about waking up in the morning and finding the beauty in everything, even the struggle. And for me, this may sound funny, maybe even stupid, but when my wife and I were in our 30s, freedom and happiness to her meant being able to go to Target without having to look at the price tag, just buy what we needed and what we wanted. And there was this very special moment almost 16 years ago when we launched a new product in one of my companies, and I made a little over $400,000 in less than a week. And that weekend, ironically, we went out to dinner and we stopped at Target. And for months, we'd been walking by the kids section, and they had this huge inflatable pool, but it was $500. And we both agreed the kids would love it. The kids were young, but it was expensive. Well, that night, while she was looking at something else, I got another shopping cart. I loaded the box in it, and I met her at the checkout. And when I saw her, she had this huge smile because she knew not just that we could afford it, but that we had turned a corner financially, that money wasn't going to make a big impact to us. So for me, that was one of those personal milestone moments. Our kids were young, and we knew that we needed to capture those memories and those experiences. We knew that we needed to have as much fun as possible while they were that age, and now we had the money to do that. That was huge. So some people will say that money doesn't buy happiness, but what money does is it makes you more of who you are. If you're a good person, if you're a generous person, then money will let you do the things that give you and other people joy and peace and happiness. Money can reduce anxiety and stress. It gives you options. So money evolved for us then into traveling and exploring the world. We talk about how the absolute best part about life is experiencing the world with people you love. And this could be a simple, coffee, sunrise in the morning, or it could be why I do crazy things like riding motorcycles and razors all the way across the United States from Santa Fe, New Mexico, all the way up to Helena, Montana, up and down the Rocky Mountains, in and out of all these little mountain towns, camping and fishing. I mean, hanging out in places where mountain lions and grizzly bears call home. Spending time with people that I love and experiencing the world in this way, it doesn't get any better than that. And you need people, you need your health, and you need money to do that, to live like that. So now let me go over what we're launching exactly with Freedomology. So we know that we've touched a few thousand people and we've impacted their lives over the past few months, but we've been fragmented in how we're delivering the information. Like we have this Facebook group, we have a YouTube channel, we have 6,000 people on an email list, we have another community platform. It just felt scattered and we knew we needed to bring it all together. And that's what we're super excited about. We're going to organize all of our ideas and systems and deliver them through a 40-day health sprint, a 40-day financial sprint, and a 40-day relational sprint, and then have live coaching. And one of the biggest questions that we got in H40, this last health sprint, over 5,000 people were in it, was about connecting people like locally. So we had a few hundred people in Northeast Ohio, and they wanted to figure out who lived near them so they could go on hikes or meet for dinner or just connect. So our new technology allows people to directly connect with others nearby. We believe that people are going to come for the sprints and the information, but they're going to stay for the community and the ongoing coaching. And going through these sprints with other people at the same time, other people committed to their health, their wealth, their relationships, that's going to make all the difference. You're not doing this alone. You're with us. You're with our tribe. So here's everything that you get when you commit to us and then we commit back to you. So H40 is a 40-day program that's built around transforming your health in every single way that matters. So that means your mental health, your physical health, and your environmental health. We believe that life itself is a gift, and that's why we take this holistic approach. Like true health isn't just about us having a six-pack or having a magazine body. And that's great if you want that, but true health is about having a body that lets you do the things that you want to do. A mind that's focused and motivated, inspired, and environments that just support your well-being. It's all interconnected. If losing weight and gaining muscle is your goal, then H40 is going to help you get there. But it's designed to change so much more than just your body composition. Week 1 is called Adam. It's about establishing a morning routine that starts your day off the right way. It's super simple, but incredibly important and foundational to everything else that we're doing. Week 2 is about seeing food as a fuel source, something that can make us feel great. We're going to eat for energy. Week 3 is called Move, and this is where we introduce exercise and strength training, and we change the way that we view ourselves in movement. And I think the big idea here is that exercise and movement isn't something we have to do. It's something that we get to do. It helps us fall in love with movement and just getting better physically. Week 4 is Hack. This is where we optimize the body's ability to heal itself. It's called biohacking, and it's about optimizing our physical and mental health at the cellular level. Your body is different from mine, so what you should do might be a little bit different than what I should do. It's about improving from the inside out. Week 5 is called Flow. We're going to help you create spaces that you love being in and talk about why our environments are so important to our physical and mental health. Week 6 is Rest. Man, this is about getting the best sleep that you can. Sleep is foundational to health, and we just forget about it. We sort of take it for granted. And we're going to make some tweaks to your sleep to help you dramatically improve it. And then F40 is our 6-week financial sprint. So in week 1, we help you focus on lifestyle design. So prioritizing what truly matters. A big focus here is seeing into the future and actually designing the life that you want to live. In week 2, we help you reduce bad debt, negative money mindsets, and self-destructive behaviors. This whole week is about removing the barriers that stop financial growth from happening and really just prevent self-sabotage. Week 3 is called Invest. We help you learn how to be a professional investor, how to spot opportunities, how to choose investments, and how to grow your wealth using tax-advantaged, approaches and strategies. And week 4 is my favorite. It's called Create. It's the fastest way to real freedom. So I'm going to teach you how to create multiple streams of income by developing entrepreneurial ventures and businesses, intellectual property, and income generating assets. So the focus here is on building wealth and achieving asset freedom, where your assets spin off enough income to cover all of your expenses. Week 5 is Automate. This week, we're going to cover how to automate your financial plan, your investments, your debt payments, how to reduce friction and make financial growth as easy as possible. And then in week 6, it's called Protect. I'm going to teach you how to safeguard your assets, your businesses, really anything that you've built, because protecting what you've created ensures that you're going to leave a legacy and really have long-term security. And then R40 is our 40-day sprint to deep happiness. We believe that people matter more than anything else, and that the best part about life is when you experience the world with people you love. So that's why in R40, we show you how to build deep, meaningful relationships that are going to last a lifetime. We're going to teach you the principles that will really transform every relationship in your life. So week 1 is called Connect. It's all about how we are hardwired for connection and that life isn't meant to be done alone. Week 2 is then called Reflect. It's about reflecting on your relationship with yourself, how you treat yourself, and really what you believe about yourself, your self-image, because this is going to impact every single relationship you have with others. Week 3 is called Attract, and you're going to learn how to be a person who has values and how to be a person who adds value. It's about becoming an attractive character, someone who serves others and really just lives a principled life. And week 4 is called Correct. This is where we're going to go deep. We talk about why relationships fall apart, like what went wrong. You're going to learn to spot ways that you may have contributed to these unhealthy patterns. You're going to want to prevent these in the future. It's really the week where you'll take a good hard look at yourself and the ways that you may have hurt others. Week 5 is called Respect. This week is all about mending fences and being able to treat people with respect, even when they've hurt us in the past. I think conflict is inevitable in a close relationship, but it's how you handle it that matters. And week 6 is called Perfect. You're going to learn how living a life of just relentless, unconditional love is really only possible through a relationship with God. We believe that God is radically for you and not against you. And he's the only one who loves perfectly. And we're going to need to rely on him to really be the source of strength. And it's not about religion. This is truly about relationship. What you believe about God, having that direct connection. And most importantly, that God really loves you and show you what he thinks about you and how he can transform your entire outlook on life. Here's what some people have said about H40. So Jason Colliget says, H40 changed my life. I lost 17 pounds and it helped me avoid surgery. Rachel Sakarik said, I was excited to wake up in the morning and not feel neck pain from inflammation. I lost 5% body fat and gained 2 pounds of muscle. Sherelle Curry says, paying close attention to how I feel when I eat has made a huge difference. I was very intentional about the way I started today and I feel great. It's tear-jerking to be so focused and have a community of support. Kaylee Stouffer says, H40 is giving me the awareness and reason to stop habits that don't even make me feel good. Jerry Golod says, in a world of instant gratification, I love that we have to wait to get to the next level. One step at a time, one day at a time, improves patience and focus. You can't develop good habits in a day. It takes time. And that, I think, is a key point there, because that's the way we've built this system around our natural instincts, what we will and won't do. We definitely don't want to try and overwhelm you with a ton of information. It's just the right information delivered weekly so you can adopt it and actually make an impact on your life. Molly Woofter, who has a master's in biology and whose husband has a PhD in biochemistry, says, this morning while doing my appreciation, I kept thinking about how grateful I am for this opportunity and community. This program took me from merely being interested in my goals to being fully committed. The structure, content, and interactive sessions made it easy to stay engaged and motivated. I now feel equipped to pursue my goals in life with determination and clarity. Well, that's awesome, Molly. Owen Miller says, this community is going to help change people's lives. It has already changed mine. Freedomology opened me up to a new mindset and new way of thinking, and for that, I'll always be grateful. Ann Curley says, this vibrant community makes my heart sing. It's like a giant accountability club. Iora Jane says, I've learned so much and I'm so grateful for Greg and Tony. Thank you so much for creating this community, sharing your wisdom, and helping us get on our path to be our best selves. Patty Celadon says, this is just what I needed to align my mind and body. So how much is this worth exactly? Or maybe more importantly to you, what is the investment? So if we were going to break this down, health programs can be from a few $100s to a few $1,000s a year. I've been in the financial freedom industry for the past 20 years. In these coaching type programs, they go anywhere from a few $1,000s a year to more than $20,000. And relational programs, so retreats and even, stuff like group programs, these are also not inexpensive. So if you're adding all of this up in your head and you look at what Freedomology is doing with H40, F40, and R40, the community, the coaching, these are programs designed to drastically improve your physical and mental health and give you the roadmap to financial freedom, to increase your income, your independence, your impact, and also help you find deep happiness by improving your relationships with others, yourself, and God. And more importantly, we're showing you how all of these things are connected so you can truly live a great life. So honestly, when I think about the price or the cost or the investment, I really can't so accurately put a value on these things. But we want to price this so that virtually anyone can afford it. We're not looking to maximize revenue over the next 12 to 18 months here. We're looking to grow the community, to explode the community. We want to build case studies of success. We want to find partners. We want to help people step into a new life. So we're not going to charge $5,000 or $2,000 or even $1,000 for this. Your investment is only $99 a year. Now, if I'm you, I'm listening to this and I might think $100 sounds too good to be true, or this can't be that good because it's just not that expensive. It can't have a value to it. Well, I want you to think about this a little bit differently. We want you to be an early adopter. It's not about a lot of money or a little bit of money. It's about perspective. We want to reach as many people as possible. And we wanted to make the pricing a literal no-brainer. That's why it's $99 a year. So let me go over everything you get with our system when you move from interest to commitment with Freedomology. By the way, this new group is called The Committed. So number one, you're going to get 12 months unlimited access to H40, F40, and R40. You're going to be able to do these sprints over and over and over again if you'd like. We have a new sprint starting in the first of every month for the next 12 months. So we're going to rotate between health, financial, and then relational, and then start back with health, finance, relationships. Okay. So you can do these sprints on demand at your own pace, or you can do them with the group, with the community, whichever one makes more sense for you. You're also going to get access to a completely private group, basically a smaller group of people who are not only interested, but committed to their health, to their finances, to their relationships. There's something about a smaller group. You're connecting with people that are at your level, at least from an emotional perspective. They might be wealthier or healthier or maybe not where you're at even, but they are committed to the understanding that balance is everything in life. Then we're going to give you 2 huge bonuses for taking action right now, not waiting. We're going to give you access to not only the coaching calls, but premium advanced coaching calls. So each month, I'm going to be hosting a very special advanced coaching call that's going to rotate between health, money, and relationships. We're going to be talking about things like, from a health perspective, the muscle switch. So hopefully you've read The Fat Switch and you understand how your body processes macros and carbs and how you can lose weight and lose fat, increase your energy. Well, we're also going to be talking about the muscle switch, which essentially there's a little switch in your body that if you activate it, it leads to adding muscle, which I think is what most men and women want more of. We're going to be talking about some advanced ways that you can create a business, maybe even around real estate, that you can generate passive income through, reduce your taxes, how you can grow an asset so it can actually have appreciation like your house may have. We have a special call that I'm looking forward to doing where we're talking about the major difference between sensory happiness, like the emotion of happiness, like excitement, and then deep happiness, like this state of mind, which is really what we should be pursuing. I've got some incredible thoughts, some deep thoughts for you on this. And the second fast action bonus for people who take action right now today is that you're going to jump right into our new partner program. This is going to do a few important things. Number one, it's going to give you discounts on things. So we have the buying power of the group. So you're going to receive a significant discount on supplements inside the Freedomology store. You're also going to have the ability as part of the partner program, as we get into F40, to have unique advanced calls and opportunities to actually invest with me in the projects that we're investing in. And we're going to continue to develop the partner program through 2025 and beyond. So how do you do this? Just go to freedomology.com/go. So freedomology.com/GO. And once you've done that, we'll be notified and activate your bonuses. So you're going to get immediate access to H40, which is starting right now. And then F40 and R40 will follow. So it's really as simple as that. We want to put the pressure on us, which is why we're going to offer a 12-month money-back guarantee. I think we've all purchased something before that wasn't quite what we expected. So even at $100, you're making a commitment to us, and I want to make that commitment back to you. And let me talk just about one last thing, time. It's a question that we get. How much time is this going to take? How much time each week am I going to have to invest? And I'd say it's about an hour a week or so. So we go week by week, and almost all the modules are under an hour. I think the only ones that might be a little bit over an hour are in F40. That would be invest and create. But man, those are so incredibly important. But yes, you're definitely going to want to make a little bit of a time commitment. Carve out about an hour a week. And you could do that while listening, taking a jog or a walk or in your car, or you could just watch on your computer or your phone. We want to make it super easy. And man, that's it. We wanted to make this so simple. We wanted to remove the I don't have the time and I don't have the money obstacles for really anyone that might have those. And I'm going to leave you with one last thought and go back to the icky question. So I have 3 boys. And I give them what they call life lessons. And one of those life lessons is very simple. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. That they need to take 100% ownership of their life. They need to be the ones to create a life worth living. So I explain to them that we're all writing a book, the book of our life, whether we know it or not. And we have to imagine that book is going to be turned into a movie. So do you want your movie to be a comedy? Do you want it to be a romance? Do you want it to be an adventure? And for some people, it might be a horror film. But you probably want your movie to be about redemption, about a person who overcame, who used all the gifts that God gave them to help make this world a better place, even maybe inspired others to get better. I recently heard this great quote that was, the more responsibility you have, the bigger the adventure you're on. And that so hit home for me because it helped me realize that what we're doing here at Freedomology, and it's like this massive adventure. It's going to be this incredible experience. It's so exciting to help people this way, totally and completely. So I'm 100% certain that we're going to deliver on our end of the deal. And all you have to do is bring commitment back. You need to move from interest to commitment. I mean, when you look at this framework, tell me what you should just be interested in. It's easy to see that commitment should be applied to all of these areas. These are the important things. And you can have other important things in your life that may be a little bit different than mine. But these 3 areas, these 9 ideas, we all should be committed to together and maybe even crazy about. And we have time to grow this together. We have the next 12 months and hopefully years after that. We're going to eliminate the confusion. You will know exactly what to do. So with that said, I can't wait one day to meet you in person or chat with you in the app, maybe see you on a call. We're super excited to start working with you, your future, and really anyone else who jumps on board and becomes one of these early adopters, because we truly feel with Freedomology that our community, that our tribe is going to change the world.